The distant hum of the starship, Endurance, filled the observation deck as Captain Mara Singh stared at the swirling blue and green of Summi through the reinforced viewport. Beyond the glass, the planet's surface was a chaotic mix of jagged cliffs, storm-laden skies, and dense, tangled jungles that seemed almost alive. The humans had come a long way, traveling past dozens of star systems, to reach a world that every alien race in the galaxy whispered about in hushed, fearful tones. "It's worse than the reports," said Lieutenant Omar Reyes, the ship's second in command. His voice held a mixture of awe and unease. "I mean, the Zifari said it's dangerous, but I didn't expect it to look like this." 1. Mara turned from the viewport, her dark eyes sharp and steady. "Dangerous doesn't mean impossible. That's the point. No one expects humans to survive here. That's exactly why we're here." The Zifari, the alien consortium that controlled most of the known galaxy's trade routes, had extended the invitation, or rather, what they called an invitation. Humans were rare newcomers to interstellar diplomacy, and the Zifari were curious about the newcomers' resilience. Most alien species, sent to Summi, had never returned. They assumed humans would be just another failed experiment, another cautionary tale whispered among their stars. The landing was tense. The planet's atmosphere was breathable but thin, and the air carried a faint, acidic tang that made skin crawl. Mara's crew wore light protective suits that could handle Summi's frequent acid rains and extreme temperature fluctuations. The shuttle descended through thick gray clouds, lightning streaking around them, illuminating the jagged terrain below. The landing site, a plateau near a narrow river cutting through the forest, shook as the shuttle's engines fired against the planet's fierce winds. When the shuttle finally touched down, the team braced themselves against the tremor that ran through the metal floor. Outside, Summi was alive. The ground vibrated slightly, as if the planet itself were watching. "Stay alert," Mara said, stepping out first. The others followed, their boots crunching against a strange, crystal-like soil that shimmered faintly under the dim light of Summi's twin moons. Every sound echoed oddly, as if the world itself amplified every movement. Almost immediately, the humans encountered their first hazard. A massive vine whipped across the plateau, moving with shocking speed. It struck the ground where Reyes had been standing, sending him sprawling. Mara barely pulled him back in time. "Remember," she said, voice firm but calm, "Summi doesn't care if you live or die. Watch, think, react." The vine retracted, but more dangers awaited. Predatory plants with razor-sharp tendrils slowly crept from the edges of the clearing. Their leaves had a metallic sheen and emitted a faint hum. A wrong step could trigger an attack. The humans had studied Summi in simulations, but simulations could not replicate the unpredictability of a living death world. They advanced carefully, using their survival gear to scan the terrain. Omar pointed out a cluster of rocks, their surfaces glittering unnaturally. "Crystal shields," he said. "We can use these to protect ourselves from whatever that is." Mara nodded. "Good. Keep moving. Stay together. Nothing splits us up." The humans moved in formation, scanning constantly. Even small animals could be lethal on Summi. In the distance, they spotted a massive creature, a lizard-like predator the size of a small car, its skin camouflaged against the jagged rocks. Its eyes glowed faintly, tracking the humans' movements. "Let it pass," Mara whispered. "No unnecessary fights." The creature hesitated, sniffed the air, and slithered away into the forest. The team exhaled silently, their nerves stretched thin. Every encounter was a reminder of Summi's reputation. Humans were far from home, surrounded by creatures that could kill them in seconds, and landscapes that could collapse beneath their feet without warning. After hours of cautious progress, they reached the river. The water was shallow, but fast-moving, tinted slightly green. Mara knelt, testing it with a gloved hand. "Safe to cross," she said. She led the way, stepping carefully over slippery rocks, her team following close behind. As they advanced deeper into Summi's interior, the SciFi observers, hidden in cloaked observation drones, watched with growing disbelief. Every human move seemed calculated, every decision precise. Even the small mistakes were corrected quickly. Where a slip occurred, humans adapted instantly, using the planet's own features to recover. No other species had ever demonstrated this combination of courage, creativity, and quick thinking under pressure. Night fell, bringing with it Summi's more sinister challenges. The temperature dropped sharply, and the air grew thick with mist. Strange noises echoed through the forest: snarls, screeches, and something heavier, like a thud of giant footsteps. Mara set up a temporary camp, arranging protective barriers with the glowing crystals they had found earlier. They ate sparingly, conserving supplies, while Mara reviewed their progress. "SciFi expect us to fail," she said quietly, more to herself than anyone else. "They think they've seen everything a species can do. They haven't seen us." Even as she spoke, something rustled in the mist. The team froze. From the fog emerged small, six-legged predators, their eyes reflecting the dim light. They were fast, but the humans had learned to anticipate danger. Using their environmental scanners, they detected the creature's movement patterns and set up a series of simple but effective traps using rocks, vines, and the glowing plants. Within minutes, the predators were contained or scared off, and the team remained unharmed. The SciFi drones buzzed silently above, recording every move. For the first time, several of the observers exchanged worried signals. Could these fragile-looking creatures truly survive Summi? Could humans, the species they assumed primitive and soft, endure what no other had? Morning brought more challenges. Acid rain began to fall in heavy sheets, sizzling on the crystal barriers. The team donned protective gear, using the environment creatively. They collected rainwater in flexible containers and used the crystals to focus sunlight, creating dry warmth to stave off the chill. By the end of the second day, humans had made their way across a series of ridges and narrow passes, moving steadily toward a massive canyon that split the landscape. Mara surveyed the drop below. The canyon was deep, with jagged rocks at the bottom and swirling fog that obscured the terrain. Most species would turn back here. Most species had died here, but not humans. Mara led her team to a narrow path along the edge, using ropes, grappling hooks, and ingenuity. They moved slowly but efficiently, supporting one another and checking every foothold. When a sudden gust of wind threatened to throw one of the team members off balance, another human caught them instantly. Teamwork, adaptability, and human determination were proving stronger than Summi's deadly nature. By the third day, the humans had crossed terrain that should have killed them, survived attacks from aggressive fauna, and navigated natural hazards that would have ended other species' expeditions. Mara finally allowed herself a moment to look back. The SciFi observers had been silent for hours, their assumptions challenged. For every hazard Summi threw at the humans, they responded with creativity, courage, and unbroken resolve. Mara spoke to her team during a rare pause. "Remember this," she said. "Summi wants to break us. Every creature, every storm, every deadly drop is a test. We survive because we work together, because we don't give up. That's why we'll win." As the humans set up another temporary camp, the forest around them seemed almost to pulse with life. The mist curling around the glowing crystals, predators lurking just beyond sight. Summi was dangerous, unpredictable, and alive, and yet, for the first time in its long history, it had met creatures who refused to be broken. The humans slept lightly that night, alert to every sound, every shift in the fog, and every glimmer of movement. In their dreams, they imagined Summi's challenges not as threats, but as puzzles to solve. The Zifari observers, meanwhile, reviewed their recordings, stunned and unsettled. The humans had survived not just because of their tech or their physical ability, but because of something the aliens could not measure: resilience, ingenuity, and the indomitable human spirit. When dawn came, Mara and her team were ready for whatever Summi could throw at them next. They were not just visitors, they were contenders. And the death world, that had defeated so many before them, had yet to see what humans were capable of. HFY moment of Part 1. Humans survived the first deadly trials of Summi, navigating hostile terrain, predatory creatures, and extreme weather, all while demonstrating teamwork, creativity, and courage. Zifari observers are shocked. This species, they expected to fail, is thriving against impossible odds. The morning mist clung thickly to Summi's jagged cliffs as Captain Mara Singh surveyed the horizon. The canyon they had crossed yesterday lay far below, its depths hidden beneath swirling fog. The planet's wild nature was relentless, but the humans had survived its first tests. They were exhausted, yes, but determined. Summi, it seemed, had not yet seen the full measure of human ingenuity. Lieutenant Omar Reyes checked the team's gear. "Supplies are holding up," he said, scanning the horizon with his environmental scanner. "But I'm telling you, Captain, this place is trying to kill us." Mara's eyes narrowed. "That's the point, Omar. If it wasn't trying to kill us, we wouldn't be on a death world. Summi doesn't care about us. We have to care about each other." As the humans advanced through the forested ridges, subtle changes in the environment hinted at a new level of danger. The trees were larger, their bark thicker and tougher. Some emitted low, pulsing vibrations that could disrupt a human's balance if stepped on. Mara signaled for caution. Every step mattered. One mistake could be fatal. Then, without warning, the first real test of the day arrived. From the dense undergrowth, a pack of six-legged predators emerged, their movements coordinated and precise. They were unlike the random hunters the humans had encountered before. These creatures worked together, communicating with clicks and guttural sounds that echoed through the trees. Their glowing eyes tracked every human movement. "Engage with caution," Mara ordered. The humans quickly formed a defensive circle. Omar activated portable scanners, mapping the predators' movement patterns. Using the glowing crystals they had found earlier, the team set up a series of barriers and light distractions. The predators hesitated, circling and snapping their claws at the barriers. Then, Mara led a small flanking maneuver. Using vines as ropes and swinging across low branches, two team members distracted the predators, while another laid improvised traps. Rocks tied with vines dropped in precise locations, creating a small trap that captured one predator without harming it. The rest of the pack scattered, confused and cautious. For the first time, we have losing. The humans had turned a predator's attack into an advantage. It was a demonstration not of brute strength, but of strategy and teamwork. "Good work," Mara said, her voice calm but proud. "Remember, Summi is unpredictable. We adapt or we die." The Zifari observers, cloaked in drones, watched silently. They had expected chaos, failure, screams, but instead, they saw humans moving with purpose, thinking faster than the predators could react. Already, the aliens' confidence in their test was faltering. By midday, the team reached a dense jungle. The trees here were impossibly tall, their leaves thick and waxy. Rain began to fall, acidic and relentless. Mara signaled to take cover beneath the massive leaves and set up a temporary shelter using the crystals and vines. The rain hissed against the barriers, sizzling and releasing a faint odor of ozone. "Acid rain," Omar muttered. Just like the Zifari warned. Mara inspected the shelter. "We've handled worse. Stay inside until it eases. We can use this time to plan the next stage. While the humans rested, they began to notice something unusual. Small, luminescent plants grew in the darkest parts of the jungle. When illuminated by the human scanners, they revealed subtle pathways, safe routes through the densest thickets. Mara realized that Summi was not just dangerous. It was a puzzle. Every hazard, every predator, every storm had a pattern. Observe carefully, and humans could turn danger into advantage. As night fell, the forest came alive. Strange sounds echoed from every direction. Creatures scuttled, flew, and slithered through the foliage. Mara assigned night watch shifts, ensuring that no one slept for too long. The humans huddled close, using the glowing plants to light their camp and protect themselves from nocturnal predators. A sudden rustle in the underbrush caught their attention. Mara's heart pounded, but she remained calm. From the mist emerged creatures larger than any the humans had seen. Ape-like predators with thick fur and serrated claws, moving in packs and hunting with intelligence and coordination. "Form up!" Mara shouted. Humans quickly created a circle, using crystals as barriers and light sources. Omar activated a drone, sending it high into the air to distract the creatures. Others worked together to lay traps using vines and weighted rocks. The predators lunged, but every attack was anticipated. One predator tripped into a pit. Another was temporarily blinded by a flash from the crystals. The fight lasted less than 10 minutes, but it was exhausting. By dawn, the humans were battered but victorious. Summi's apex predators had tested them and failed to break them. The Zyfari observers communicated in hurried signals. "Impossible," one whispered. "No species has survived this. How are they still alive?" The humans pressed on. The next challenge awaited. The terrain grew rougher, with cliffs and deep ravines cutting through the forest. Mara led the team along narrow ledges, using grappling hooks to cross gaps. The constant threat of falling, of rock slides, of ambushes from predators kept the team alert. Every step was a test of focus, courage, and trust in each other. Halfway through the day, Mara noticed a strange glow coming from a cluster of plants near a ravine. Investigating, they discovered a bioluminescent plant that emitted a soft light capable of distracting predators. By carrying small pieces of it and positioning them strategically, the humans could manipulate the behavior of dangerous creatures, turning potential threats into tools. "This changes everything," Mara said quietly. "We can use the planet's own life against its predators." By evening, the humans had reached a clearing, a plateau overlooking a massive chasm. The wind howled, carrying with it the faint scent of ozone and danger. Mara realized this was the Zyfari's ultimate stage for the day's challenge, a high-risk, high-reward path that no species had crossed before. "Tomorrow," she said, addressing the team, "we cross this canyon. It's dangerous, yes, but it's nothing we haven't faced already. Trust your instincts. Trust each other. And remember, we survive because we adapt." The humans settled for the night, using the glowing plants to light their camp and repel smaller predators. Around them, Summi seemed almost aware of their presence, the wind and mist swirling as if testing them. Mara lay awake for hours, listening to the world around her. Every sound, every rustle of leaves, every distant roar of predators reminded her this planet could kill them at any moment. But it hadn't. In the darkness, humans reflected on their achievements. They had crossed deadly terrain, faced intelligent predators, and survived Summi's storms using nothing but ingenuity, teamwork, and courage. Zyfari expectations had been shattered, and for the first time, the aliens' arrogance began to crack. By morning, the humans were ready. They moved carefully toward the canyon, using ropes, grappling hooks, and every trick they had learned from Summi's environment. Mara led the way, her eyes scanning for hidden dangers, her mind calculating each step. Small predators appeared, but the humans used their bioluminescent tools and traps to control the battlefield. Halfway across, a sudden rock slide forced the humans to improvise. Mara quickly directed 2 team members to anchor ropes to the cliffs, creating a makeshift bridge while others guided the remaining team members across safely. Every action was precise, every decision deliberate. The canyon, meant to be deadly, became a stage for human ingenuity. By evening, the team reached the far side of the canyon. They were battered and bruised, but alive. For the first time, they allowed themselves a small celebration. The SciFi observers, watching from hidden drones, were stunned. Never had a species survived such trials, let alone thrived. Mara addressed her team. "We've survived 2 days on Summi. Against odds no one believed we could beat. And yet, we're still here. Remember this. Summi doesn't break humans. We break Summi's expectations." The humans settled into a safer area, preparing for rest and recovery. Summi's challenges were far from over. But the humans had proven something essential. They could adapt, survive, and even turn the planet's hazards to their advantage. For the first time, the SciFi began to whisper among themselves. Perhaps they had underestimated humans. Perhaps the Deathworld had met its match. And as night fell once again, the humans slept lightly, ready for the trials that awaited on the next day, confident in one unshakable truth. No Deathworld, no matter how deadly, could crush the human spirit. HFY moment of Part 2. Humans face coordinated predators, deadly storms, and treacherous terrain. Yet they survive using ingenuity, teamwork, and adaptation. They begin to turn Summi's hazards into tools, showing aliens that humans are unlike any other species they have encountered. The sun rose slowly over Summi, casting jagged shadows across the cliffs and valleys. The canyon the humans had crossed the previous day stretched behind them like a scar across the planet. But Mara Singh knew the worst was yet to come. The SciFi had reserved the final test, a trial designed to be impossible, meant to humiliate and destroy the human team. As Mara and her crew prepared to move, their scanners detected movement in the valley below. Apex predators, larger and smarter than any they had seen, were massing near the canyon floor. The SciFi intended to force the humans into a deadly race, cross a vast chasm, while being hunted by creatures designed to kill everything in sight. Mara gathered her team. "This is the moment," she said. "Every challenge we've faced so far has prepared us for this. Remember your training, trust your instincts, and above all, trust each other. We survive as a team. That's what makes us human, and that's why we'll win." The humans descended carefully, using ropes and climbing gear to navigate the steep cliffs. Every step required precision, and every movement had to be coordinated. Behind them, the predators stirred, sensing motion, hunger, and weakness. Halfway down, Mara noticed something unusual. A cluster of bioluminescent plants grew along a narrow ledge. They emitted a soft, steady glow and seemed to react to the humans' presence. Mara quickly realized they could use these plants to mislead the predators, creating illusions of movement and confusing their senses. "Set up the plants along the ledge," she instructed. "Distract them, lead them away from us." The team worked quickly, placing glowing plants strategically. When the predators approached, the illusion worked perfectly. The creatures hesitated, then turned in the wrong direction, buying the humans valuable time. For the first time, Summi's hazards became their allies, but the SciFi were not finished. From the cliffs above, automated devices triggered avalanches, dropping rocks and debris toward the humans. The team reacted instantly, diving behind natural barriers and using ropes to swing to safer positions. Every hazard was met with a combination of ingenuity and courage. During a brief pause, Omar Reyes scanned the terrain. "Captain, "I think I've found something," he said. "A resource we can use. This rock formation here can stabilize the unstable cliff edge. We can create a safe path across the canyon if we act quickly." Mara nodded. "Do it. Everyone, focus. This is our chance." The humans worked together, using ropes, rocks, and environmental tools to secure the cliff edge. The apex predators watched from below, growling and snapping, but unable to reach the humans' position. With precise coordination, Mara led her team across the newly stabilized path. Every human movement demonstrated resilience, quick thinking, and adaptability traits no other species had shown on Summi. As they reached the far side of the canyon, the team discovered an unexpected bonus. A hidden element embedded in the rock, one that could stabilize the volatile weather of Summi temporarily. Mara recognized the significance immediately. This resource could turn the tide, making subsequent challenges easier, and giving the humans an advantage no other species had ever had. "Looks like Summi wants to help us," Mara said, her eyes gleaming. "We just have to use it wisely." 1. The Zyphari drones observed everything in disbelief. The humans had not only survived their apex predators, avalanches, and unstable terrain, they had turned the planet's hazards into tools, using both ingenuity and courage to advance. No species had ever done this. The final stretch of the canyon approached, a narrow ridge suspended over a sheer drop. Mara led the team carefully, placing ropes and using anchors for safety. Below, the predators tried to leap and climb, but the humans were always one step ahead. When a large predator lunged, they used a combination of light, sound, and traps to redirect it safely. Every action was precise, calculated, and effective. As they neared the end of the ridge, the Zyphari attempted one last test. A sudden storm, generated artificially, with high winds and sheets of acid rain. The humans had no choice but to adapt on the fly. Using the glowing plants, crystal shields, and quick thinking, they created temporary shelters and guides across the most dangerous areas. The storm raged, but humans pressed on. Finally, after hours of careful movement, they reached the summit of the ridge. Exhausted, battered, and soaked, Mara looked back at the canyon below. It was a testament to Summi's deadly design, but humans had conquered it. They had survived every trap, every predator, every storm. They had not only endured, they had thrived. The Zyphari observers, hidden in cloaked drones above, were stunned into silence. One by one, they signaled each other, a mix of shock, admiration, and unease. "Impossible," whispered one. "They shouldn't be alive." Mara gathered her team. "We've crossed the canyon. We've survived the apex predators. And we've adapted Summi itself to work with us. The Zyphari thought they could break us. They were wrong. Every challenge we faced made us stronger, smarter, and more united. Humans are unstoppable when we work together." The team allowed themselves a moment to celebrate. They had conquered the death world that no other species had survived. The humans' ingenuity, resilience, and teamwork had turned Summi from an enemy into a proving ground. But Mara knew the real victory was not just survival. It was the message they sent to the galaxy. Humans could endure what no other species could. Summi, with all its dangers and unpredictability, had tested them to the limit. And humans had emerged triumphant. The Zyphari, who had designed this ultimate trial to humiliate the newcomers, could no longer deny the truth. These humans were extraordinary, not just in strength or technology, but in creativity, courage, and the ability to adapt to impossible situations. No death world, no predator, no storm could break them. As the humans descended the final ridge, the weather began to stabilize. The hidden element they had discovered in the canyon rocks seemed to calm the volatile atmosphere temporarily. Mara smiled at the irony. Summi itself, the planet designed to kill them, now acknowledged their triumph in its own way. The team reached a wide plateau where the Zyfari had stationed their observation drones. Mara approached the nearest device, unafraid. "We survived, Summi. Not because we're lucky, but because we are humans. We adapt. We endure. We overcome." The drones recorded every word, every gesture. The message would spread across Zyfari networks, across the galaxy. Humans were a species to be respected, feared, and admired. As the team prepared to return to their shuttle, Mara allowed herself a rare moment of reflection. Summi had been a challenge beyond imagination. Apex predators, deadly weather, treacherous terrain, all had been obstacles to their survival. And yet, humans had turned each obstacle into an opportunity. The ship's engines hummed as they lifted off from Summi's surface. The humans looked down at the planet, knowing that every other species that had been sent here had failed. Every other species had underestimated the human spirit. But not them. Humans had survived, thrived, and conquered. Mara felt a deep pride in her team. "Remember this, everyone," she said. "This is what makes us human. Courage, creativity, teamwork. Summi is just the beginning. The galaxy is full of challenges, but there is nothing we cannot overcome when we work together." The Zyfari observers, watching from the skies and relaying data back to their home worlds, were forced to acknowledge a painful truth. Humans were unlike any species they had encountered. Deathworlds, apex predators, impossible odds none could crush them. And in the galaxy's history, a species that could survive Summi could survive anything. The Endurance lifted into the atmosphere, leaving Summi behind, a planet that had tried and failed to break humanity. Mara Singh and her team had proven that no matter the threat, no matter the danger, humans endured, humans adapted, and humans, above all, prevailed. As they headed toward the stars, the galaxy awaited the news of humanity's triumph. The death world of Summi would no longer be a legend of fear. It would be a testament to human ingenuity, courage, and resilience. The Zyfari had made a grave mistake. They had underestimated humanity, and the humans, as always, had turned the impossible into victory. HFY moment of Part 3. Humans survive the ultimate trial, apex predators, deadly storms, and treacherous terrain by turning hazards into tools, demonstrating ingenuity, teamwork, and courage. They leave Summi alive, victorious, and respected by alien observers, cementing the truth that humans are resilient beyond measure.